Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of Nah, I'm Good, bruh. I'm so excited to have y'all back with me yet again another week. Y'all have fully supported me, and I could not be more appreciative. Oftentimes, trauma, commitment, issues, stress, the weight of the world often comes from, I'd like to say, broken homes and marriages. And I'm happy today. Our guest has conquered the stereotypes and has produced a life to be proud of with his family. Y'all help me welcome my brother Dra Cunningham to the show. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man? What's good with you, Doc?
I am doing well, man. How you hanging?
Man, one person told me when you're hanging on, sometimes you you fall off. So she said instead of saying hanging, tell it you're standing.
Well, I am staying there, brother. I'll change that up real quick.
I'm standing pretty good, man. I'm standing pretty good.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm glad to have you on the show. As I always like to do with every other guest, I'm very fond of you. I know who you are, but some of our listeners may not know who Andreas Cunningham is. So take a moment and introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, yeah. What's up, everybody? My name is Andreas Cunningham. I was born in Alabama, raised in Georgia, ATH. I have, I am 36 years old. Now I reside in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I felt like, with me, my wife and I felt like we needed to go. We thought we was going to Rainbow Bible College. God had other plans. So right now, what's what we're doing? We're just very involved in our community, very involved in our kids' lives and things of that nature. Have 6 kids. We're a big blended family. Um, and right now, I am also a juvenile detention counselor. And in the progress of starting a 501c mentoring program called The Locker Room. So be heads up out there. I'm pretty sure my brother Pat will start putting some information out there once I get it to him and kind of just find out ways how people can support the movement.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely get some stuff out there, man. You know I got your support. So as soon as you launch this off the ground, we will definitely share it on our social media sites and make sure we get the people to donate. So I appreciate you again. Thank you for being here. So today, today is I like to say, a very touchy topic, a topic that can be viewed a lot of different ways in terms of just family trauma, specifically in the Black community. Obviously, this is not to say every family of every culture doesn't experience some sort of trauma, but for whatever reason, the Black community, it seems to be very prevalent. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree, man. Um, the I think one of the biggest traumas that happens is that we were taught at a young age that it's a simple phrase that we was taught: "Whatever happened in this house stays in this house."
Mm,
And although I get the concept of it, and there's some truth to it, um, I feel that the way it was taught to us, it was taught in a way of fear, and also took our voice away to be able to learn how to communicate properly.
mm.
And so I believe that's one of the biggest things we faced in in this life, especially our generation. You know what I mean? That's why so much went on in the houses, because we didn't have a voice, and now we are at 36, 35, 30s, and mid 30s, dang near 40. You know, wondering where's our voice,
Mm.
and we had, and because it was taken away as a part of, like I said, our parents did it because, like, they wanted to protect us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to keep their business to themselves and things of that nature. But ultimately, what they didn't realize, they were teaching us how not to communicate.
Mm. So,
Yeah.
so let me. So you spoke a lot about, when we were younger, this is the things that were said to us. So when you think about trauma and war on Black families, it seems like you're saying that it is rooted or it comes from generations passed down to other generations versus it being inherited. Is that where you're going, or do you have a different stance on that?
Absolutely, it's definitely generational. You know what I mean? It's definitely generational, man. Like, um, we're only a product of our environment. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I think it's now to the point where um, things are coming to light because the old things that quote unquote was working back in the day, like it's not working now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Things are getting worse. You know, prayers coming out of the schools, prayers coming out of the homes, and people are trying to handle things on their own. When back in the day, you know, when you like, for example, like my wife and I, we're part of this company called Apartment Life, and what
Mm-hmm.
we do is the company brings us. It's a nonprofit Christian company, but they bring us in to host parties, right? To kind of get the neighbors together to try to bring the old school feel back. And so the neighbors come together, they can feel safer and things of that nature. Well, and like I told them in my interview with Apartment Life, I was like, listen, I'm all about getting that old school feel back to where, if I got the meat, you got the potatoes, and someone else got the vegetables, and
Mm-hmm.
we can live off our harvest, you know what I'm saying, together, and so like um having that somehow that has switched over and changed
Mm-hmm.
to I got me, you got you. And so that
Very true.
community that was founded on from our forefathers somehow got changed because of us buying into this quote unquote American way, right? Everybody come to quote unquote and buy into the great American way, but the great American way wasn't really set up to support our families.
Mm.
It was set up to support the American way, and without saying going through all those antics, you know what I mean? And so, like, and so that's where I feel like you think about like how the government, uh, they put you got child support, you got like housing, public housing, you got food stamps, you got all this benefits that we take advantage of. I've used those resources,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? But it's there to keep the family in the mental poverty outset mindset. And so essentially what happens is, we got these fathers that's been missing from these houses, and the government say, don't worry about it, you don't need him. All right, let's put child support on them, and we'll give you housing, and we'll give you government assistance, so he don't have to be there.
Wow.
And so now we're trying to raise a generation of kids who doesn't have any fathers. You know what I mean? And so essentially, it breaks up the root of what we were endeavored to do. The same thing that happened back when they brought us over as slaves. Like I'm a big guy, 6'1", 290 pounds, and pretty athletic. So if back in the day, if I was a slave, they were gonna send me to Utah, what I'm saying, to create more babies, to be big and stuff. That's me. So they'll
Mm.
take me from my family, you know what I mean, and to do that. And so it's been passed down since through all those channels, you know what I mean, to be able to all these absentee fathers. But we are having a, I would say this, we are having a comeback though. I
I,
do feel that.
So you said a lot of good things in terms of the American dream, and your whole slavery point kind of takes me into my next question, but more so on the present father and the present mother. And obviously, we're talking more on the man, but I feel like in a way, slavery still exists in the black community, like in our mind, right? Like I've seen in other marriages, I've even seen in mine early on the constant arguments that we have with our women because we as men feel we have to work so damn hard to be better than the next person just to survive, and it pulls us away from our family and creates that issue, like that barrier, that stress that I don't have time to play with my children, I don't have time to be there for my wife because if I don't do this, to your point, I'm going to be pulled away from my family. Like, why is that?
Man, once again is because it's simple. Where's the prayer and where's the guidance?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the prayer? Where's the guidance? So we talk about childhood trauma, right? We talk
Mm-hmm.
about we see our daddies work so freaking hard, right? We
Mm-hmm.
see to provide and this and that and the third. We want taught balance.
Mm-hmm.
We want taught management. You know, we weren't taught those things. And that's what it takes to run the family. It takes prayer, balance, and managing. And so when it comes down to it, us as men, we have to assume their role because that's what we've been preaching to. Well, if you don't work, you don't eat. Well, you know, I mean, the whole theology behind what a man should be. But then we working with now we got all these high powered strong women, and I love them, but they don't know their place in that high power and being strong. Like, yes, they should be able to have the freedom to do whatever they want, but at the same time, they could be submissive in a way of respect, not as way as male dominance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that is clear. Like, they could be submissive and to work as a team, but because of what they see on social media or what the news feed or whatever life is feeding them, it's hard for them to see it in that way because all they see it is he's a dog, he's a dog, he's a dog, he ain't take care of his family. And so
Mm-hmm.
like when they have that perspective, it's hard for them to be like, oh yeah, I ain't submit. I'm gonna submit to that. How? He can't support her.
Mm.
And us as men, we have to do better, and now us allowed to move by our emotion of being a man. You are a man by the way you act, not by the way you act, not by the way you are emotionally putting things out there. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Sure. So it's more. So you would agree that it is pride, or maybe it's fear as a man that creates that barrier. Because obviously we see on TV, like a lot of the issues and the white families you see is handled over the dinner table, but over black dinner tables it's often quiet. We're eating our food, or everyone's in their own way. So does that pride or fear take away from that?
Oh, it's both. It's both.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger thing is the pride. You know, pride is really the thing um that hinders us from coming together as a community, hinders us from coming together in our marriage. Because let's take it from a marriage standpoint, right? And from a marriage standpoint, like we in our marriage with me and my wife, we had to make sure that we've been going through this thing where we're starting to heal, right, from past hurt and trauma. And now we're seeing and identifying why we have it,
Mm.
right? And so it's the pride thing that says, well, I know I got it, but you know what? I'm not even going, it hurts too much for me to watch it all the time. It hurts to deal with it. It hurts to say I was wrong in this situation.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, when you have any argument with your spouse, right? It become you get offended, us as men, and me knowing you personally, like, you know what I mean? If we get offended when like it's okay for us to admit that we're wrong, but when our spouses doesn't admit to it, you know, it's almost taken lightly. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
essentially what happens is um, when they take that approach, right? They take that approach of like, well, I was in my emotion, and that is that. When we take that approach, it essentially takes away from the relationship of the equality that is needed.
Mm.
You know what
Mm.
I mean? And so, like, so when it comes to that, when we have that going on, then that pride come right back into play. And so, well, if she's not going to be able to allow to take down, for lack of better words, to take down or to admit and that she was wrong, and allow me to sit in my emotions to kind of deal with it, right? Then we can come back and have a better conversation, and we can grow.
Mm. You touched on a lot of great topics that I want to kind of touch on a little bit. The first, and you heal a lot. Who has been, I guess, just thinking about your own personal life, who's been the most important person in your life that has helped you heal?
Man, actually, my wife,
Hmm.
um, she's been helping me heal, um, because I found a good thing. We was best friends for the longest, before we even decided to take this to another level. But not only her, um, I've found some mentors. I've done some counseling. I've been counseled. I just surrounded myself with people that can pour into me, um, especially using uh, the word of God to be able to allow me to um, see myself, right, and just really being naked in front of a mirror and seeing my flaws,
Hmm.
and telling God, like, I'm willing to give all of this to you. And although I see my flaws, you don't see those. You don't see my flaws the way I see them. And so, being that open with God and telling Him that, and then reaching out for prayer, and reading the scriptures that talks about what I'm doing, and just going through and healing, and journaling has been a big thing I've been doing lately here, brother.
Hmm.
And just journaling some of the stuff out, and just allowing um, my emotions to come up, my emotions to cry, my emotions to be in anger, to write letters to people who I felt had a pivotal time in my life on how I was acting in those moments, and just kind of be open and getting those things out of me so I can really heal. And
Mm.
so especially lately, I've been doing a lot of self surgery. I think in order to kill that pride, in order to kill our selfishness, ambition, and to be able to walk in this life, especially with a spouse and as a Black man, we need to do self surgery and admit to what some things that happen in our lives and confront it, so that we can get it out. And whatever emotion comes up allow yourself to be in that moment to say XYZ, and cry about it, or just whatever, so you can start dealing. We have to deal in order to heal. And right after surgery, you got your recovery process,
Hmm.
and then once you start recovering, what I mean, like, it's also painful. Recovery ain't easy. You know what I mean? Case in point to your Achilles, right? Like, you had to go through some therapy, you had to go through some things, you had to kind of relearn everything and go through some pain and aches. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And so, and then once you get past that point, we're able to live healed and free. But you got to
That's
go through all of it.
that's an interesting perspective. I've never heard it that way, so I think that's good. Um, so you talk more about like the flaws, and I love the self surgery analogy, but I feel like there's still more issues there. I mean, Dre, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think America as a whole, see Black men as parents, right? Like, and I guess I'll challenge you on if that's our fault or not, because I mean, we all joke about it, right? Everyone wants, this two-parent household with kids, a white picketed fence, but our societal mind associates that with the white man. But when you think about child support, as you mentioned earlier, the drama, the headaches, is almost always associated with the Black man or the Black culture. Like, is that our fault?
No, by all means, it's not our fault.
Hmm.
Now, well, the startup is not our fault. Let's put it like this.
Hmm.
The startup is not our fault, because how can you be let me put it this way. If I say, hey, Pat, I need you to work on this project, and I just give you a bunch of papers, and it's nothing you've seen before, expect a great product out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Expect a great project. Now it's up to you to whether in that So what my role in the essentially at that point is giving you setting you up for failure.
Right. Right.
Right? I'm setting you up for failure at that point because I'm giving you something new that you never experienced and telling you you better get me a great product out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, once you take on that challenge and accept that challenge, right, in those moments, then you're gonna have to do the work in order to get that presented.
Mm-hmm.
You can either say, hey, you know what, nah, this ain't gonna work, or da 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 da, or you can just half do it and don't get it done, or you can pour your all into it and say, hey, I'm presented with this situation that's unfair to me. And what do I do with it? And once you accept that in your heart, then it becomes your responsibility
That's
to
good.
be able to execute it in the way that it needs to be. And that's when you put your pride aside and you go out there and research and you ask and you talk about people and you try to put yourself in a community of people that will help you gain understanding about what's going on in this project. And so then now you could come back to me 6 weeks later and say, hey, here's what you wanted. And I got you every detail on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. Especially our generation, we've been cut short from, they say, live this life according to the word of God, right? But they don't fully understand what that is.
Interesting.
And or they have taken it to pursue their own agenda and not really setting us up to succeed by giving us real life, authentic word of God and show us really how to walk this walk. In retrospect, they're saying, do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, but then it's up to us to have the audacity to say, you know what? This is my life. And what was given to me, well, it was what was given to me. And so how do I turn this to a victory? Right?
Right. Right.
Like I remember another example. When I just took on the Y, I had transferred to the sporting department, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was, as soon as I got on, started working there, or in the department, as soon as I got to work one Saturday morning, my boss comes and tells me that this team doesn't have a coach. I need you to go travel and go coach this team. Okay. So what I did, I walk in, so I go and do what my boss told me to do. I walk over there and I don't have a roster. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what any kid looks like. I don't know I don't know who is who. I don't know
Wow.
how many players I have. All I know is I got a team.
Jeez.
Well, finally, I found out who my players. I only had 5 players.
Mm.
I had only 2 with any experience, and the rest of them was just out there because their parents made them do it.
Man, you need some of that Space Jam special juice, man.
Exactly.
Wow.
So in the course of that, you know what? I said, okay. I told them, I said, I got them together. I said, all I want y'all to do is run and have fun. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had 5 minutes before a game to brief them, and I can't even come in with a game plan because I haven't seen any of these teams. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on. I don't know who's good or who's not. And
Wow.
so, after the game, I told them this. I said, listen, I committed to this team when I accepted it. I said, they got blowed out by like 70 points, bro. Like
Wow.
blowed out. Like legit. I said, y'all, I told them at the end of the game, I said, look at that scoreboard. We would never see that again.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Because at that point, like, it's up to me to be able to push them to do something better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we'll never see the score like that again. And we began. I found. I talked to the parents. I said, listen. At the end of the season, I am not gonna say we won't be champions, but your kid will be a better athlete and feel better about themselves by the end of the season.
Wow.
And that's what I call a victory.
That is
You know what I
awesome.
mean?
That
And
is awesome.
ended up playing in the title game to the team that beat us by 70 with ended up playing that, and we still lost pretty bad, but you know what I mean? It was only by like 10 to 15 points instead of 70 points.
It's a victory. Yeah.
So it's a victory. And you know what it did to the Eagles was crazy,
Mm-hmm.
right? It boosted the Eagles like crazy. So that's an example of we don't always get the cookie cutter instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, as I took that team over, it was up to my decision to get them to kids to succeed or not. And that's what we have to do with our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We have to take everything that we have now. No, I didn't have the best example for a marriage. No, I didn't have the best example for being a husband. No, I may not have the best example or know how to be a father. But I'm going to, sure enough, get enough resources and pray and get the right guidance to be able to make the best out of my kids, make the best out of my marriage, make the best out of my life.
That's awesome. So when you say that's beautiful. So when you say that, like as you think about, your story, where you came from, obviously I know you can relate heavily to what we're talking about, not just having the resources there for you, but now you have mouths to feed. You have beautiful daughter, but also you have young men to take care of. So just thinking about your story, like what lessons are you teaching your boys to defeat this generational curse that's put on top of us of this trauma and this war on our families?
Transparency.
Mm, okay.
Transparency. Like, um, you remember when we first started this conversation, it was uh, mind your business. What stays in
Mm-hmm.
his house goes on in his house, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's transparency. I talked to my kids why me and their mother not together. Right? Have talked to them about what's going on in our lives. I talked to them about our situation financially, with or whatever's going on. Right? I talked to them about that. I let them know, hey, we are struggling right now. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna fake the phone with you. There have been times like right before we moved to Oklahoma, we was homeless.
Wow.
We was homeless. Like we had the kids. Being homeless, brother, we was taking to football practice, cheerleading practice,
Mm-hmm.
church. Like we still had to work to try to provide to pay for hotels that night. Like we was doing all of that,
Wow.
and even in the midst of that is saying, okay, how do we get our kids? No, listen, you see what we're going through now? I'm gonna need you to work hard in school and to listen, because I guarantee you that we're gonna come out of it and that you're gonna be more blessed than we were ever been.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's being able to take our experience, not to hide it from them, but to teach them correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like for another example, like I take my kids, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I make my kids pay rent with fake
Okay.
money.
Okay.
With fake money.
Walk me through this.
With fake money. So what we did, we went on Amazon and we ordered some fake money, and they have chores to do. So they get a weekly salary, right? And I'm teaching them how
Mm-hmm.
to take care of their responsibility. You know what I mean? I'm teaching them, I'm giving them enough money and giving them ways to earn extra money. So if they want
Interesting.
time on the game, they got to pay for it. If they don't want to share the TV together, someone wants to watch what they want to watch, they got to pay for that time. Teaching them how to spend wisely, how to earn money while we live life. Transparency.
That's interesting. I,
And
I
like
really like that.
the bills that I set out for, I made it to where, so like the weekly staffing is like $200,
Mm-hmm.
and I make sure all the bills add up to $200.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for them to get extra money, they got to do overtime by doing extra chores, babysitting Alex every now and again, or going out. My kids, there's oh man, there is we got to pay them for this weekend, but they is a movement out here called the Be Heard movement.
Mm-hmm.
So we volunteer from time to time. He has a shower trailer that he goes around and in a barbershop, mobile barbershop. They go around giving homeless people haircuts and showers.
Wow.
And so, like, they went yesterday morning to serve there. They would go hang clothes up that was donated to the Be Heard movement, and like, it's like teaching them those types of deals, man. Teaching them how to give, teaching them how to give beyond what they need, or you know what I mean. Even
Mm-hmm.
in the process where we are, even when it's downtime, like we got to continue. Can't lose that focus of giving. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So I like that, man, and I mean, this has been a amazing conversation. I appreciate you sharing just a little more about your thoughts. But I guess kind of as we kind of wrap things up here, like what I guess two-part question: is there anything about the future state that worries you in terms of where we are now? And on the flip side, what are you most looking forward to?
oh man, the most thing that worries me is uh, because of the turn up of the evil that's going on in this world
Mm-hmm.
is being that um, uh, my kids having to pretty much everything's going to be pretty much wiped.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
kind of wiped out. Like we almost have to go back to farming and growing our own crops.
Mm-hmm.
The exciting thing about it is that I am working towards teaching my kids to be able to be self sufficient.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think now if I see that that's going to be an issue, so like, we're trying to find a house now so that we can. And one of the things I want to be able to do is eat off my harvest that I've sown. You know what I mean? As far as real plants, actual vegetables, for actual, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those things to teach them how to survive in this world because I don't know where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know is we gotta be ready for when Jesus come back.
That's it, man.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm excited for. I'm like mostly I'm excited for the rapture to come because I ain't trying to be here when the 7 years of evil come upon the earth. I'm not trying to
Speak
be.
it. Speak it.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be gone. You know what I mean? When when Jesus come back before these other levels.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I love it. Well, listen, man, you are and I guess I'm a little biased because I know you, you're my brother, but I mean, truly a class act guy, a stand up father, one that has, man, it gives me chills on my arms, but one that has been through some things, man, has truly been through some things, but truly has defied all odds and, made a way, whether that was moving on faith or, just seeing more for your life, man. So I hope to be just as good as you are, and hopefully for other men out here can see what a great example you are for some of the fathers out here, man. So I truly appreciate you taking this journey with us, man.
man, absolutely, man. I thank you for having me, man. It's such an honor to be able to share. Anytime I get a chance to share, such an honor. So I appreciate you as being my little brother. To find it in your heart to come and let's have this conversation. I look forward to many more and to support everything you're doing. I think this platform is going to give you that, and like I say, I really appreciate it having this time with you. I love you so much, brother.
Absolutely, man. I love you too, brother. And there are truly going to be more times for us to catch up. People, that's it. That is my brother, Dra Cunningham, very stand up guy. I'll make sure to have all of his information across all social media sites on my platform so you can, hear more about his story if you felt today was just a tease. So we thank him again, and I look forward to having you all back with me again next week. Peace.
Peace. Thank you, brother.